Well, good
Hey,
evening, sir.
hey, how are you?
I am doing good. As we wait for people to filter in, it looks like there's about an 8-second delay between us and the live stream. I popped on
All
our
right.
calendar there. So as we await for people to pop in here and see
If
what's going
anyone
on.
pops in,
That's right. See if anybody shows up for this amazing festival of nonsense. Let's see here. I got 3 watching on mine. So there are some
woo,
people out there. Guys, if you're watching us, you can comment in the live chat on YouTube. It'll feed to us here on StreamYard, so we'll be able to see your comments. I think we can somehow we can highlight these, right? Yeah, we could show them. So cool. Figured that part out. Tech support. And so the principal
hey,
plan here is going to be this is a sort of a dress rehearsal, rough sketch of a podcast that we're going to be doing. It's going to be an audio podcast in the future. This is just a live stream so we can look like fools in front of everybody at one time. Plus, if you guys are actually watching and you can comment to us and, tell us stuff you like, stuff you don't like. I think we'll probably be hour and a half or so worth of content tonight. Maybe, maybe not. We're streaming on both of our channels here, so you guys know me. I'm James Duff from the Stash Project, like a patriot. That side over here. It's Mr. James
James
Tester,
Tester,
the Scale Model Experiment. How are we doing tonight, sir?
doing all right. Doing all right.
Not,
Let's get this started.
I've not seen you since September, the
Right.
Pittsburgh show.
Right.
You decided to go. You decided to go jet setting off to Japan. Took that trip.
Yes. Yes.
So how was that?
Oh, Japan trips are always awesome. I think that was my 5th trip to Japan, and seems like every year I find something new to go to. This year was the Liberty Walk. I didn't post the video to the Liberty Walk store because they were playing copyrighted music in the background. So yeah, that was all kind of footage I couldn't use. Tried to talk the wife into doing a voiceover for that one, but she.
Yeah. Mr. By Gunner here is will be Winbin Sun there, who's the head of the miniature decals. Something
Yep.
that both of the Jameses here have invested a significant amount of our disposable income into in the last couple of months. And he'll have a project we're going to talk about here in a little bit that we'll be investing significant more amount of our disposable income into.
Absolutely.
Big resin multimedia piece. Let's see what's not. I'm sitting here. What were we going to talk about? Oh, let's see. We were talking about breaking news in the hobby, which was not really necessarily a huge breaking news, but one thing that sort of popped up on various forums after Meng announced it on their actual Facebook page. If I could figure out where the heck it went off to, so that I can show everybody. Bear with us while we go through our beginning infancy of technical things here. Is this new release that they're going to be doing? I assume that this is going to be a downscaled version of the 1/12 scale McLaren MP44 that they did here not too terribly long ago. But they, whoops, I took us off the screen while I did that, didn't I? We'll figure this out. Let's see. This is on cinematic. That's the problem. Let's see.
Anyways,
Anyway,
so
the big deal there is it's going to be 1/24th scale rather than 1/20th scale. Now, 1/20th, obviously, your normal F1 scale, traditionally speaking, because F1 cars are itty bitty, and if you put them 1/24 scale, they're ridiculously small. They're almost 1/24 scale car size in 1/20th scale.
Who else did that? Somebody else did 1/24 scale F1 cars. I remember doing a Sauber Petronas car
Yeah,
once.
Revell, Germany did a bunch of 1/24 scale ones,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's those Formula 3000 kits from Hasegawa that are all 1/24 scale kits as well.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe possibly the situation here is they don't want to be compared to the Tamiya 1/20th scale, because Tamiya did a MP44 back in the 80s when that car was new.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I don't know if that's the thing. Like, we don't want to be compared to Tamiya, even though the Tamiya kit's 30 years old, because
But
it's probably
still.
just going to be a shrunk down 1/12 scale kit, or they're Meng has never had any kind of random sense to what they're doing. I mean, they've got Hummers and F350s and that weird 10th anniversary Jeep that was like not the 10th anniversary of any real Jeep. And don't know what's going on there. So,
Right.
yeah. Our good friend Mr. John Brolin here, who I tried to sucker into coming on, but he was no, I don't think so. Pointing out yes, Revell of Germany, and I mean, this is one of your fans here. I don't know who this is as far as name
2 o'clock at night. Oh my God. Huh.
So yeah,
Thank you, Wigo.
he is here supporting the show. So anyway, there is that issue there, and then the other one, if I can stop clicking wrong buttons, is the picture that got taken at NNL West, which seems unfortunate that this is going to be the last NNL West. They said not this one that just happened
Right.
year will be the last NNL West. Seems kind of odd. It was a very popular show this year. Maybe they see that crowd came back and it continues, but it's the thing that you guys had with the NNL in Toledo. Everybody's getting a little older. Nobody wants to put it on anymore. The cost of the venue goes up, and
Right. 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 One of the guys in my club went to it. He said he had a good time.
now let's see. Can we?
Where's that picture? Come on.
There it is. I think.
There it is.
There's the picture. It'll just be over top of us. We'll just deal with it. But this was like a little thing that Mobeus had set up there, which has the new wrecker in the foreground, which is supposed to be out already, but we'll see when it actually comes out. Very cool. For as far as I'm concerned, it's something that I like the idea of actually having an actual tow truck that's an actual tow truck as opposed to like the Midnight Cowboy Runner or whatever that horrible Revell thing was that was on the front end of that weird GMC Peterbilt, or any of the AMT wreckers from the Cooter tow truck series, or like a weird wrecker bed there. And then in the background, you have your C10 truck series that is still coming with 2Ms soon. So they have not fixed that flyer since the Las Vegas toy show, and that's good to see. And then you have this sort of cropped out of this picture. I think I had two pictures, and I'm using the wrong one. But at any rate, there's 65 Coronet, the factory stock one, shown there. And then the background there, the really interesting one to me, is a Mercury M100 pickup. New grill, new grill, new tailgate, new side trim. You know, not a lot going on there as far as making a huge thing out of it. Obviously, they have all the F Series pickup trucks, but it's certainly, I think, one of the only models when it comes out of an existing Canadian specific vehicle. So there's that, I guess.
I think they beat the Ford pickup truck horse to death. It's time to get on to the Chevys. Yeah. Let's do every Chevy pickup truck from 1966 through 75 now.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'd be interested to see if they, you know, I assume we're going to short bed, long bed, and 4-wheel drive the C10.
Right.
Be interested to see in the future. Will that probably be like a C30 a thing? I'm not that familiar with that sort of, you know, having a dually heavy duty truck with put this tow bed behind.
I think so. But I'm just go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I my thing with the 8, you know, is this an 8-foot bed length on the Chevy, so you can put that toolbox behind it, because you know you have that work truck that they did on the Fords. Will that fit on a Chevy too? Because that's something else they could obviously do for very little.
Oh, right.
Investment.
Right. They could just take all the parts off the Ford ones and put it on the Chevy.
So I know in one of the places I saw this picture posted, somebody asked, "Is this a real dually on the pickup truck?" And yeah, again, it's just the ramp truck, which was obviously a dually on the short wheelbase. So it'll be all those heavy duty parts, and then it actually has a PTO shaft throw off, which is a nice little touch. Could have probably left that off there. Most people wouldn't even realize it was missing. How many people have driven a PTO driven truck before? But yeah, so there's that coming out. It'll be interesting. I don't know when we're going to see those. Be like 29 jillion years from now, the way Mobeus has been working, but you know, it's something.
Yeah. Well, the Cornet's pretty welcome too.
And then something else that might be up your alley is the ultra wheelbase 65 Dodge is coming out relatively soon. I've seen first quarter. I stole this picture off of Mega Hobby, which is the retail arm of Stevens International. They said third quarter. That seems a little excessive. Probably going to wind up somewhere in the middle, probably summer, I would imagine. But this is going to be a Model King release, so he'll have them before anybody. I'd maybe NNL East. That would be nice, right? Because he's always, you know, Dave Burkett vends at the. There you go. You fix the screen.
Yeah,
but Dave Burkett, you know, Model King, he always vends at NNL East, so it'd be great if he could get those in beforehand. But
yeah, I think he would sell out if he got it there.
But that tickles your wagon, right?
Yeah, I have the Plymouth already, and so I need the Dodge to go with it.
I think you're supposed to be an A990 car as well, as far as 65 goes, because they're going to basically make it like that. Was it the satellite that was, or not the Belvedere that came as sort of a day 2 car. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that should be interesting. And then yeah, we can now that you figured out the screen, there's that McLaren. So yeah, okay. I don't know. I have no interest in it really because I'm not that big of an F1 guy.
Me either.
It's the wrong scale, and then somebody has to make Marlboro decals for it then, because the existing verboten tobacco decal things are all in 1/20th and 1/12 scale. So somebody's gonna have to figure that mess out.
Shrink it.
Some taboo graphics or something like that's going to have to be done. So that would be that. So our first talking point of the evening, I made banners here for this so we can look all official, is our receipt of the PZY kit box Lamborghini Aventador Liberty Walk multimedia resin kits. I got to reach up here for mine because I'm an idiot and didn't put it down in front of me. But yes, I have the coupe version of the vehicle, and if you've watched
the convertible,
if you've watched Mr. Scale Model Experiment over there, he has the convertible version of said vehicle. Stick it right here. It's sort of back there. So, all right, we've both been through these things. We both grokked the kits and the instructions there. What are we thinking about this? Because this is really your first PZY kit. You didn't get the BMWs and all that stuff. So,
right. I like it. It reminds me of that other company that does high-end resin kits. I won't mention their name, but you all know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it seems nice along the same lines, but very, very crisp and delicate. I'm liking it.
Some of the pieces for that engine compartment for things like the overhead suspension wishbones and some of the I don't know if it's supposed to be technically radiator hoses or just supports there are incredibly fine, like to the point of like I didn't want to take them out of the bag to check them off the inventory list because they're like ridiculously small.
Yeah, I think I pointed out that wing was about paper thin.
Yeah, the wing's paper thin. The back of the rear diffuser you can see through.
Thing. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can.
Oh, the scorpion tail in the end of that hood.
These three pieces right there in the middle, the two suspension components and that brace that go over top of the engine component, they are like mechanical pencil lead thin. I've never seen anything cast in resin that fine before. I mean, I have a couple of the other companies' model kits, which we'll talk about when we get into like what do we get portion, but that is like, and they've had some, chassis pans and stuff like that you can see through, but that's like next level. And it's not even, you can see 3D printing being that fine, but that's cast resin. They gave you able to get that out of a mold without breaking it or something.
Yeah, you can imagine their scrap pile for all the ones that didn't make it out of the mold.
And you asked before what my decal packages were. So here are basically the decal packages for the coupe, which are not going to be particularly clear, I don't think. But we got the Coca-Cola livery, so it can match all my AMT kits. Yeah. I was going to do the purple car, the one that's on the box art, because it was like the Auto Salon debut. But then Lee went ahead and built the thing on as the demo car for it. And I'm like, oh well, shoot, now I got to pick something else. So I don't know. I kind of like the because this has the parts to the prototype car, which has the special wheels. It's blurring and it's white, but that's this set of we're just to go through instructions. This set of snowflake wheels that I got, that's specific to that prototype car, and I have there's specific decals to this that are specific to the prototype car. And if you guys have never seen the decals on this, it comes with a whole bunch of carbon fiber, which is what all of this is over here. But yeah, and it's great because if you've ever seen the instructions for the other company, they're sort of a 3D CAD image of the model. It's like, hey, good luck, Godspeed, have fun. These are more like regular instructions. Have you ever seen a modeler's kit out of Japan? Their instructions are the same thing where they're blank resin with some point. Now, when you get into stuff like the seats, where it's like giving you 900 call outs for the seats, that's a little complicated. Right. You got to figure out which one belongs to which seat option. But overall, I have, except for the Mercedes DTM car, I have all of the PZY kits. and this certainly is as good as the BMW was. The Porsche was a little rough around the edges compared to the BMW, but it's very cool. It's a very badass car, just in general. The looks of it's very aggressive. And Mr. Brolin, he would like us to coke all the things. And then Andrew Aristirian, he wants to know if we can get a pickup truck that was produced after he got a driver's license. No, you may not. You know what? You can buy one of those AMT repops of the old OBS Chevys. That's what you can get.
There you go.
You're old enough to 1990. You had a driver's license. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Are we going to actually try to like build these as quasi buddy builds here, or what?
We absolutely could. We absolutely could.
I know we tossed around that idea.
Like a week?
What's that?
Will you be ready in a week?
A week? I'll never be ready, but yeah, sure. I can. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the Ferrari 360 Spider that I was talking to Mr. Brolin about because he's doing his Ferrari 360. And I'm like, oh, I have that Spider. I could pull that out. And I looked at it and I got the photo etch out from Hobby Design. And I'm like, oh, yeah, look at this, stuff like that. And then it's
easy.
I haven't touched it. So, yeah.
Easy.
That's always a good time. Planning for the future when you're not actually in planning for the future. That's always a good time. So what did we
around colors? I've been kicking around colors for that Lamborghini. I still haven't decided yet. I bought those color shift paints in Japan when I was there and kind of kicking those around, but I don't know. I
thought we were doing you were doing a flat gold or matte bronze or something like that.
Oh, that's high on the list too. But I don't know.
Viewer requests for colors there. Matte bronze. There was a bronze. I mean, there really is that is a real honest to God Lamborghini color. So it's not
right.
I'm certainly not gonna be the one that's a stickler for like, oh, it has to be the right specific color, although I do have a bunch of specific colors, but that actually is a color, so you can get away with that.
Yeah. I just don't want to show up to the show and you had that brown car.
Well, I mean, that's when you're like, okay, well, you could build one of them yourself and see what it comes and turns out and looks like. I mean, it could be brush painted. That's always an option.
Oh my God, Aries. You got to highlight that one.
Oh, Mr. Styrene here is being sassy. Likewise, Andrew, likewise. I see lots of plans. I don't see many models. So we going into let's see here, giving up my banners. Let's see if did I even make one. Oh yeah, I did. Let's see, what have we bought or received recently? So myself personally, other than the Lamborghini, I got buttons. Because I'm not gonna hold all three of these boxes.
It's like Christmas every single day at James's house.
Trying to upload a video file now. That's right, it is. Why is that not showing up as one of my options? Oh, I can't. There it is. Okay, now I guess this would be much better when it's on audio because we can either edit this part out entirely or not. We don't have to worry about showing screen. But anyway, this is what we got. I picked up from Hobbyland Japan recently. It is 2 Hasegawa rally cars that I'll never see again, and then the newest of the Aoshima Liberty Walk kits. You picked up one of the Hurricanes from Japan, didn't you? Or
no, I got the Aventador, the blue one.
The blue one.
The blue one.
That's the one I sold off. I have the light blue one, but well, I figured I bought them all, and then I came to the realization as I've been slowly. I sold four models out of the stash this weekend, so I've been slowly trying to at least keep the stash in stasis, if not actually selling some stuff off. I'm not going to build 2 of those, so I kept.
I'm guilty. I bought one.
And so, I bought the one that I kept the one I figured I like. So the Murcielago or the Murcielago or however we pronounce that, because somebody's going to slag me for the pronunciation there. It's a brand new tool. So if you're not familiar with these Liberty Walk kits, they don't share any of the tooling with the glue well, they're glue kits, but they don't share anything with the full detail versions of these.
Right.
The Hurricane is not the glue Hurricane, or the Performante. This one is the Aventadors aren't any of the 18 Aventadors that they did. And then this Murcielago, it's not the what the heck was it? It was a Super Veloce.
Yeah, I built that one right there.
So It's very cool. It's very wide. It's very big. All of these kits are designed for new modelers because they are highly polished plastic. Technically speaking, you don't have to paint any of it because it is
Right.
molded in color throughout. It comes with Mylar stickers, but it also comes with water slide decals. If you go to the back of the instruction manual, it has all of the color callouts for painting it, plus the water slide decals, which are a different number than the stickers. If you ever get one, don't you? These numbers don't match. No, they don't, because there's two sets of decals for it. But it's very cool. The Nissan Pulsar there, Group N champion, yay! I guess. I mean, it's just I like the Hasegawa kits because you just built that. Oh crap! What the heck was that?
Starlet.
Starlet, right? I was going to say it's small sedan, but you've seen the quality of the current generation of Hasegawa kits.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean that's just fun to have. And then the Griffin Tour de Course was the third place finisher. It's got like no decals in it whatsoever. It's like 4 things. It's all white with like number placards. I don't know. I may end up just selling that on as time comes along. But
and there's no anime.
It was $20.
No anime
so.
on it, so I'm not buying it.
Oh, let's see. Model car here, 1589, saying, "Hey guys,
hey,
are you too early? No, you're too late."
No.
Mr. Brolin received his Liberty Walk kit last week, so it was an auto one, nice kit, and then we got painted the chrome this weekend. Wait for it hard. Well, just don't ever touch it, Aries. It'll be fine. Just don't ever touch it.
I assume you did it with the Revell spray paint.
There you go, Andrew. There's your question. I know we're on delay from live, so it'll take a second.
Right.
But is that Revell chrome? Did you paint it like blue stuff? Like what chrome did you use? I'm interested in finding that magic chrome because I've got
inquiring minds want to
know. Set of Lincoln Park decals for the AMG where the car's chrome, and like
right.
And I have another like Super GT car that's partially chrome. I could probably fidget around with it's Revell. So he's saying yes, it was the Revell Crom because there's no E on that can. It's just Crom. Crom. So yeah, I guess if you can find something, it's not really so much the touching it that I'm worried about, but obviously decaling an AMG decal set solution is going to be all over that, and it's what can you cover that in that you're not going to wreck the chrome?
You certainly can't clear it.
Yeah, so I know Pro Scale Paints, which is Paul Bretland International Scale Modeler, he has a chrome system that is painted over black. It's chrome. Then you 2K it, or no, you don't 2K. There's a sealer for it, and then you put the 2K over the sealer. And supposedly, from everything I've seen, it goes back to being chrome again. I have not sunk the $25 into exporting a couple bottles, but over here because first of all, me, I don't use this airbrush in the first place, and then 2K, whole crap, has a whole nother series of unfortunate events.
But buying stuff, you're on that.
Oh yeah, I can buy stuff like crazy. There are a few people in this hobby that can outbuy me. Especially when we start buying like $20 Hasegawa kits versus going out and being like, oh, I found this old Johan kit for $300. Oh yeah, well I bought 17 kits for that $300. So
I win.
So other than your PZY Lambo, anything you've picked up recently?
I did get a set of decals in the mail today.
Okay.
You've got a picture. I sent you a picture of this.
Let me find
it's a Rocket Bunny Pandem, and they're in pale gold. So I had printed a S14 Rocket Bunny car, and so I was thinking these would be good decals for that. Maybe paint it black with gold decals.
Oh, very JPS.
But a resin printed car painted black. Imagine that, the prep.
Oh well, yeah. I was saying that you're gonna put gold on top of it, so metallics will show all the defects as well.
Right. Good luck with that, James. Right?
Yeah. So is that this car?
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's your. So how long did that thing take to spew out the old printer?
I think the body
just
took
the body
9 hours. Just 9 hours for the body because I printed it at 0.02. And I had it at an angle, so right. Yeah. And I think the interior parts same. So yeah, I 18 hours into this kit, and it's not even as good as something that you pull out of a box. but I only paid $10 for it. So
let's say here's Mr. Mike North I was talking to you about off camera there.
okay.
He finds prep on 3D cars easier than on styrene.
Well, I'll send you.
I have no experience in that. I've only bought some 3D parts here and there. I don't have any big objects like that.
Yeah, I tell you, the resin 3D printer was a blessing and a curse. It's so much fun to print stuff of your own, and the files are cheap, but damn, I just traded one obsession with another, basically.
I warned you going in. That's going to be a whole new hobby for you.
It really is. Really
That's
is.
because I've always looked at the 3D printing for me personally was not to print whole things like this, was to print upgrades to stuff. I have sets of decals out the wazoo from Shunko for the 2000 era Super GT cars. But those kits are like, oh, this is a 04, Z, it's an 05 Lexus. And those cars changed significantly after that, but the decals are for those later cars. And so if I could print bumpers or skirts or, aero pieces that I could put into it rather than printing a whole new body. But you went whole hog. You were like, screw that crap. I'm printing whole kits.
I'm printing whole kits. Right.
Well,
so go over to the Hoonigan truck, because that was another thing I printed.
Okay, this right here.
Yeah. So I printed that. That's the Hoonigan trophy truck, and so the file was like $10-15, but the decals are by STS, and I think they're out your way, aren't they? STS.
They're out this way somewhere. Yeah, I think so, because they were down in Virginia at the show I went to down there, which is a little south for them to be, based more towards you.
But the problem is it's just the sponsored decals. So I have to do that 5-color fade from light blue to medium blue to purple to magenta to black. Fun times.
Easy peasy. You're an airbrush master over there. I've collected an assortment of airbrushes, but you actually use yours, so. And I think the thing that most people don't realize about you is the fact that you are in your everything is going to be box stock, but you're quite the full detail model builder there at one point. Don't be fooled by those easy builds that he's doing now. He's a fairly accomplished modeler over there hiding.
Old James.
Old James. Yeah. Well, conjure a little old James there and get yourself on your fade. You'll be fine. I don't know how you would decal that anyway, because you'd be meshing so many colors in the print process that those decals. I mean, you figure that screen printing decals is a 4-color process, and every color after that you're adding cost to it. Like that's 4 colors within the processing of that fade without going into all the sponsor decals and stuff like that. So that would be pricey.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
plus you're going into the Pantones of the colors there and getting them all, because if you're just a shade off, everybody's going to scream, this isn't the right color, purple. So,
and it might actually be harder to wrap decal over that than it would be to paint it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff ends up being that way, where it's like, oh yeah, we made this decal package for the whole car, but probably easier to just paint the car the colors that it needs to be and just go,
Yeah, like those carbon wrap cars.
Yeah, I mean, this back there, the Chevy Cruze that has the Chevy decal package to it. Those decals in that, because it was like B-Max's first ever kit, are ridiculously bad. Like I have 12 of them or 11 of them, whatever it is, because I have that many I have that many sets of aftermarket decals for them. But to make one of those, I'll probably need like 5 of the decal sheets, because they're they explode in the water, they crack on the body and everything else like that. It would probably be easier to paint that car light blue, dark blue in that fade, and then put just the decals on top of it for the sponsors, and it would be trying to wrap that car with those awful first gen. I don't even know where they were printed at decals.
Right.
And then you have to paint the back bumper anyway, so the back bumper is not going to be the same shade of blue as the rest of the car. So, heck it, we're just going to paint it, be done with it.
Yeah, a lot easier.
let's see, what did we have here? What about the let's see, where'd it go? I'm gonna make everybody sick. What about this thing? This K truck that's
So that one was at SEMA, and it's an actual car. And I saw pictures of it on Instagram, and I asked the guy after like 3 or 4 emails, where did you get that kit? Where'd you get that kit? And he finally said that he got it from Taobao, something to the equivalent of an Etsy or an Amazon in China. And so I reached out to my friend Wenben, and he scored one for me. So I'll probably get that in March-ish time. But that's tough, man. I love that truck.
yeah, it could like it looks like it looks like a golf ball return thing. You just pick up the golf carts here and mow the grass back here.
It's
And
tiny. It'll be tiny in 24 scale.
Guy hanging off the back here like a fire truck. It'll be great. I mean, you have a sandbar, right? Because you bought the one I sold you, right? So you know how small this is to begin with. And now we're gonna throw a whole big body kit and some TE37s on it and call it a day.
Right. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to buy that. Yeah, there it is. Taobao. There he goes.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're going to move on to the next part here, which is if I can find the banner. What kits are coming up in the near future? So, I'm going to stop sharing that, and we're going to go into the files for the February kits. Jim's Jim. Wow, I just called you Jim. I call my.
You just called me Jim?
I did. Because I make everybody at work call me Jim because we already have a James, so it works out. But we're going to make James's eyes roll in the back of his head here because we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff he's probably not going to be interested in. But we will start out. Now, guys, I'm going to do a regular February video, so if you're watching this back in the past, don't freak out. There will be a regular video on this. But yeah, I know we all love
your rants.
We will discuss this month's stuff. So some stuff got delayed over at round 2. It was supposed to come out in January. And so they are the 4 pickup trucks. So this is the box art to the 63. It's got that vintage silent box top where there's no printing on it. I'll admit I'm a sucker for these 2 kits. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because they're impossible to actually get the originals of. Like the 60 was a 1-year only truck, and then the molds were changed to the 61s to 63. So that's why the 60 was never reissued. I don't know. I'll pick them up. We'll ever build them? Probably not, but I'm interested in them.
What is that little camper thing on top of the top?
I think it's like it's like the U-Haul mom's attic kind of thing. I don't know. I think there's a bed up there.
Okay, all right.
Because it's part of the camper top, so I assume it's like you have extra storage up there. Maybe it's another bed because it's got windows, so I don't know why your like canned goods would need to see out. So. I assume it's another bed.
Put children to sleep up there or something.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe keep your dog up there. I don't know. It's where you stick your gun out and shoot because it's too damn cold to be outside like these guys. Hey, we got our 2-wheel drive pickup stuck in the woods. I guess we're hiking out from here. Come on, Bob. So that will be out. The Cadillac ambulance, I believe, got delayed till February 2, but we're not going to talk about that. So the other one with a much more prominent, retro box art since 1960. Again, I don't know why, but I like this. This has the same thing. We're talking about your Duster build here in a second that you did in white glue, but this is the same sort of principle where they separated out the headlights from the chrome grille. They separated the taillights out. I know a lot of people, and again, we'll touch on that in a second, but a lot of people aren't crazy about these brand new tools that are kind of like the old kits were, but I do appreciate them going through and updating them in that way. If you did put this back out with like the headlights molded into the grill, I think you'd probably, fire and brimstone would rain down upon you. So I appreciate the separate headlights. This is actually a 2-part body this time, and apparently the original was a 1-part, so that should make everything line up. I know, talking to Steve in passing, the 63, the original one, apparently being the last of the annuals, the body molding was doing a wave down the truck. That's obviously been fixed with a new tool, so that's nice.
Right. Marcos Cruz is building this, I think.
Yeah, he is. I know. I don't know if he's building it for Fine Scale or somebody else, but I know I've seen him mention it, but I know he's not talking about it because it's a magazine kit.
Right. And then, he'll knock that out of the park.
And we have a reissue of the venerable 61 Ford Galaxy. I think it's been 9-10 years since this was out last. So
That's
for
not
folks
a
that are
bad
interested,
kit.
it's not a bad kit at all, but it's just, I love the AMT that is redoing old things that we haven't seen for a while. When you get this is sort of it's been so long that there are no more in frontline hobby shops, so let's reissue it. It's kind of like, okay. Somebody will see it and it'll be new to them, which is the point, right?
Right.
You got to pay for those new tools somehow. But
right. Kick the collectors right down the line,
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily get my motor running per se, and then this is another example of that. We're gonna license John Wick and reissue this same old '70s Chevelle. Now, Steve did say they did something to jiggle the front end fitment, so it's not quite so bad anymore. But
yeah,
it is the only 1/25th scale 70.
Yeah, he retooled that front end
matters.
so that the grill and the headlights fit.
Major improvement.
Yeah, still forgot the side mirrors, but yeah.
Hey, when you're going through 900 guns in 90 minutes, you're not worried about the past behind you. You're just moving forward, I
guess. Right.
You can see behind you in the rearview mirror there, but the side windows, no, don't worry about that.
I have to admit, the 70 Chevelle is one of the best looking Chevelles, in my opinion. 71, 70, 71, 72. Those are the best years, I think, for those.
Another release that's exciting to a lot of people. First time this has been out since 1978. 1981, technically, as far as the four-wheel drive, bed goes, but this specific boxing was 1978. You've built this or did you build this, or you just had a review?
No, I just reviewed it and got roasted. Yeah.
Yes, because you were not familiar with the parts, and God forbid. No one has ever seen a kit for a first time.
Oh my. Yeah, the guys at MCM forums, they roasted me. What do you mean you didn't know that that's 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive? Blah, 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 blah.
I didn't really realize it either until you got about halfway through, and I suddenly going, wait a minute, some of those parts are out of the fleet side, swept side, whatever the Dodge term for the regular pickup truck bed was.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, okay. I see why we have so many rear end differentials in this, because some of this is the front differential, some of this is a long bed drive shaft, some of this is the short bed drive shaft. But I mean, this is something I wish I know it's just a straight kickbout. I wish they would have separated the headlights out on this.
Yeah.
As far as the grill goes, but I understand.
I think it'll still do well.
Oh, it will for sure, because again, first time the four-wheel drive parts have been available for, what is that, 33 years. So it's not exactly a kit you just pick up off the shelf, even at a hobby show.
Right.
Plus, you've got the expanded Warlock decals. If you did find one of these, the decals are not going to be anything repairing usable at this point.
Right. I'd like to see them do the macho trucks later. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but
yeah, I've seen those. And then another venerable reissue, the 7-in-1 64 bed.
7-in-1.
What? 7-in-1. So many options. Most of them are drag racing. It's like, it's a drag racer, or it's like a street car, or it's a Bonneville, or it's this, or it's that. It's like whether or not you have the roll hoop on, or that or the little Targa thing on the passenger seat. Whether that's an in-one. That's 7-in-1.
That's 2. Stock or drag.
I'm just saying what the box says, Jim. But yeah, I mean, again, this is something. There's 2 of these. That's the problem. Like, there's an AMT one and there's an MPC one, and they've reissued both of them.
Okay.
And so this is the one, like the AMT kit's, I believe, only a factory stock, or maybe a factory stock and a custom. This one's a drag and everything else. I don't know. It's whether or not it trips anybody's trigger. It was out 11, 12 years ago. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff
mesh the 2.
I imagine you probably could, maybe. I mean, this is obviously way back in the past when they were separate companies, so they're not going to be exactly the same. But it is what it is, as I like to say. Let's see. I think that's that for that. All right. So Revell has a couple of kits, and these are actually out. These are in at your local hobby shop, maybe, but they're certainly in at like Model Roundup, places like that. You have the American non-glue paint thing. This is an American sized box, 71 Mach 1. So you have a new 429 engine in this, with obviously the new hood and the sort of factory dog dish hubcaps, I guess they would be. This is aimed directly at the movie car, so you don't get all the Mach 1 other decals you'd get. It's the movie cars striping package.
Okay.
But you've got all of the, you know, wood grain decals and all the stuff that came in the Boss Mustang. So I mean,
that's a nice kit, by the way.
It is a very nice kit. I've seen a bunch of people say they really wish that they were making the police car in the back. I mean, it's a light commercial guy originally. Yeah, I'll take one of those too. But it's I have no complaints about it. It's because I have the Boss Mustang. It's a great kit. It looks awesome. You white glued the thing together, as I recall. So you've actually built it.
I did.
And you know,
little side trivia. My first car was actually a '71 Mustang. It was a notchback. There wasn't a straight panel in the whole thing. It was all full of Bondo and rust. And I think there was a 2x4 behind the driver's seat to hold it in place. But it was my first car. So, you know, but.
You know, we've seen parts trees for a 73, which would have that Endura bumper on it rather than the chrome bumpers. And then maybe an Eleanor from like the original Gone from not the goofy remake with Nicolas Cage, but the original Gone in 60 Seconds. So those would be interesting future editions. We'll see, maybe next year or something like that. I don't know. There's nothing in the Revell of Germany stuff said anything about any more Mustangs. So I don't know if that would be US specific kits at that point or not, because as I mentioned in that video, not everything that was in the New York Toy Fair is going to be in Germany. Not everything that's in Germany comes to the United States. And let's see, we got a comment down here. Here's a good one here. Do you think the new Warlock kit will have price destruction on the original kits?
Yeah. I don't know. Troy?
I'll say you guys who've watched my channel, you know that's one of my favorite things is destroying kit collector prices. I mean, it's certainly gonna make. I don't know that an original one of those would be necessarily worth any more, because the thing with round 2 is they're copying the original box art with these kits, so it's not a situation of like, well, this is, you know, got the goofy 2024 box art. No, it's got the 1978 box art. Unless you know your kit numbers on the end, you're not going to, just looking at it, be able to tell the difference.
So you just have to weather and age your kit box and
pour a little coffee on top of it there and set it outside. Hey, it's an old one. I mean, I would assume, especially because for me, buying an original something, because I do have a couple of Johan kits. I have, and let's try to think of like old stuff that I have a Capri 2 AMT kit. I have a 75 Pinto AMT kit. Those don't have decals in them, right? So if I'm just going to paint them, as long as the plastic's not warped or broken, then it's good to go. Something like the Warlock that is so dependent on the striping package to make it a Warlock as opposed to just a short bed 4-wheel drive Dodge pickup truck, those decals are toast. You're not going to find a single 78 kit, no matter what condition it was stored in, that's going to have good decals 4 years later.
Well, you know what I learned when we did that USACC 40 Ford group build, I had an ancient 40 Ford, you know, that I started with, and everybody else had the newer versions, and mine fit a lot better than say Brian's that he got. And then when I showed it off at the club, one of the guys brought in an original issue of that kit, and it was even crisper than the one I had. So, you know, when we're talking about original kits, they're actually a little better mold wise because they haven't been, you know, flashed over and bloated and all that good stuff. So yeah, original kit. I would, if I was to build one, I would take an original kit and just grab one of the new kits for the decals.
True. I don't know that necessarily applies to this, because at least the 4-wheel drive parts in the box, they haven't been run invariably. They only had like four runs of them ever, so it shouldn't be too bad. But I don't know if the cab and the hood and stuff like that, and the engine compartment, that's probably all, you know, stuff that was in that short bed fleet swap side, and then it's probably been run more. So yeah, it's probably, I certainly see your point to that. A lot of the, with Johan kits, right? Those USA oldies ones. I have a DeSoto Adventure that probably has a inch and a half of flash that runs above the panel lines on everything. And if you get an original flat box of that, it's not in that kind of condition. So,
right.
So I don't know. Troy may and may not. I would certainly think it brings the price down a little bit anyway. I'm not sure what the price on those were to be. Again, I haven't seen one of those in forever anyway, so I'm not sure what they sell for. We are getting a U.S. boxing of the Aston Martin DB5.
Ooh, I didn't know that we were getting that. Cool.
So that'll bring the price down on that to about $30 or so, compared to the $80 or so that the Revell Germany one was going for in some places. And again, we don't get all the paint and the glue and the gift set. So yeah, I think it's still technically, because it's like 14554 parts number. I think technically I still have a Revell Germany parts number, but it is in a small box. They Model Roundup had these stacked on top of one another, and they're the same size box. So it is a US rebox, and even though it's the Revell Germany box art. So that'll, for anybody who's been looking for one of those, didn't want to pay a whole piss ton of money to import one from Europe because the euro and the dollar is really crappy again, like it has been. That's an option for you if you're interested in picking one of those up. I saw somebody recently was building one of these, and they were filling in all the goofiness. Because if you haven't seen the inside of one of these, the roof panel is separate for the ejector seat. The bulletproof screen for the back window,
right?
Yeah, that's a separate piece. There's the spy gadgetry on the dashboard. That's technically a separate piece, but there's nothing that goes there to replace it for the factory stock parts. Now, Misha over at Ukraine Scale Production, they've done new wheels for this. They've done a new front grille for it with a new bumper, so it's not the James Bond bumper, but parts are appearing for this. I think he wants to do an engine for it. I don't know. I it's one of those things of like, are they going to make a factory stock version of this? Because that's a lot of work to put into doing something that may only sell for a year until the new one comes out, or if this is the only one we're going to get, and I'm just going to have to suck it up and Bondo the roof closed and be done with it.
Yeah, if Misha does it, then it's going to be $100 for the kit if he does it.
I know he's done pieces of it. Like, he's already done the wheels, already out. He's done the grill, that's already out. I know he was going to do the engine. I don't know. I've told him that's what he needs to do is a whole body for it and just be done with it in case the one isn't done. But obviously those guys are dodging missiles at any given time of the day, so it may not necessarily be a huge priority for him. But
right,
it's certain to have a new DB5. It's cool. Don't let the Easy Click system thing scare you. I know it's a snap tie kit, but it is a 122 piece snap tie kit.
Right.
They've done a series of these now with the tractors, the Fendt, and the Porsche Junior and all that stuff. Something else was the Audi, the e-tron. Yeah, the e-tron,
the Volkswagen 23 window thing.
Yeah, the Type 3 was a snap tie kit. So they are what I say it was not your father's snap tie kit, but technically speaking, with the current crew, they may be your father's snap tie kits, because these remind me a lot more of those late 80s, early 90s Revell snap tie kits, like the Caprice and what became the Impala SS and all, where they're full detail kits. This one's not, but they're full detail kits. They're multiple pieces. They're not the build and play 8-piece, toy. It's a model kit in there somewhere. Right. Or the Fujimi next series, like the Hustler and the Flare and all that. They're snap tie kits, but they're not.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Well, I mean, even those are better than a oh, hey, look, it's a 1/32 scale Malibu Mount Prospect police car. Blues Brothers. Okay, there's nothing about that that's the Blues Brothers other than the police department guys. So Salvinas JR, I know you're not a NASCAR guy, but Mr. Brolin, if he's still watching, he is. Junior Johnson Racing 84 Monte Carlo. This is obviously the old monogram kit with some new decals. I do find it interesting, sidebar commentary, that we can put Budweiser decals on things, but we still can't put tobacco decals on things.
Yeah, what's up with that?
They've done like two Busch Light cars from the old Junior Johnson Racing day, Cale Yarborough days back in the 70s. And Bobby Allison's 83 championship car was a Miller Light car. Like, beer sponsorship, totally okay. But that was the first thing that went back in the 80s when the Moms Against Cool Model Kits group, got together and made AMP stuff and stuff. So I find it, I know Revell got around this by doing adult collectibles, and maybe it's the 18 years and older on the box that saves them. But yeah, this will be the 4th or 5th beer sponsored NASCAR kit.
We
And
won't see
nobody
that at
blinks
Hobby
an eye.
Lobby.
No, well, they don't sell Hobby Lobby. They want, but with that sidebar, they signed their license with NASCAR. So they're an officially licensed NASCAR product now. When they started doing the next gen kits, which are, the current crop, which we're going to get some of this month as well. If I could get this stupid blasted thing to work. Like, oh, hey, Kyle Larson's 2023 Camaro looks just like the 23 and the 22 Camaro because that car is the same. No, that's a legacy thing. His Hendrick's kid died, and so that car is always going to look that way. It's always going to have a bunch of throwback to his son. But when they signed the deal on these new Camaros and the new Camrys and the Fords, they are no longer allowed to put Winston Tobacco decals on the contingency sponsors of those old kits from back in the 80s and the 70s.
Huh.
So a little tiny little decal about smoking. No, you can't do that, but we can splash Budweiser all over the car. That's perfectly fine.
Perfect.
Mr. Brolin says he wants a fried chicken beer car. So which if you're sitting there, a fried chicken beer car, you can't see it on here, but there's a giant KFC logo on the trunk of these. And we get like Mr. Alex Bowman's Camaro this month, which is this is just, if you ever wanted to like test your patience with decal sheets, this whole thing's gonna be a wrap because of the digital camo on this. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger.
So wonder what color it'll be molded in.
So we molded in like purple or dark blue, whatever the base color is to this.
Okay.
And then you're going to decal the whole car around this. I believe from listening, I'm trying to think of what I can say, what I can't say publicly because I belong to the Builders Club and you're not allowed to say certain things publicly. But from what I remember, this is like 3 decal sheets worth of decals because all of the sponsor stuff will be separate. So you're going to have like a hood decal and a roof decal, and then side decals will be broken up probably into 3 pieces. They've been doing it. Let me see if my mouse shows up when I do this. They've been doing it where they're splitting it like on the A pillar and then splitting it on like the C pillar. So you get like 3 pieces down the side, and then you'll get an overarch for the roof, and then the front end will be split here, and you'll get side like the GT3 cars are, with a split across the grille, and then you get a hood. The only problem with these next gen cars, my personal opinion, as far as those decals are, is the next gen cars. Those are like open hood slats on the hood. If you really want that to look right, you're going to have to cut all those little hood slats. And then the thing with the cars in real life that I see a lot of people when they build these don't do is these slats are actually attached to the engine. The hood opens over top of them, and the slats stay on the car. So technically, you need to cut around the outside of the slat and then cut all the slats open. Yeah, okay, well, get your microsol out because this is going to take a hot minute.
It's going to take a half bottle, right?
And then the last one that's coming out will be this William Byron Raptor car. It's a nicer livery than the Raptor cars have been. This will probably be molded in black, I think. There's a fade to this. It's like a green to a yellow. So I think this is going to, the fade part there is going to be the decals, and then it'll be molded in black. Because I'm not sure how you'd necessarily, unless you mold it in yellow and maybe you, from the A pillar back, you put it as a different decal.
No, I don't think you could do the decal for the front end like that in black. That would be too tough.
Mr. Onyx Fiero Scale Model Works. Hey guys. Hey, how's it
bud.
going? Yeah, because the shtick with this, and a lot of people have commented in the past about, like, they're molded in color. They molded this in color. They should just be in white. Part of the deal, again, with NASCAR was that they're selling these in a way to make them accessible to everybody. So you don't have to paint it. So if it's molded in black and you just have to put the decals on, it's, we both know as modelers what it's going to look like, without clear coat and all that stuff. Because this is a wrap in real life, so obviously it wouldn't have steps and it wouldn't be different colors and stuff like that, or different textures to the paint. But can you pick it up at from the Fanatic trailer at the racetrack and build it without a huge problem? Yeah, you can. So
sure,
I see the point to it. I don't know that I necessarily pick any of these next gen kits up unless I've sort of gone to collecting the ones that win. So at least there's a reason behind the NASCAR kits that I own.
But if any of those 3 cars, get them all anyways, don't you?
I will get I'll get the Budweiser car because that'll be the push out for this month. That'll be the thing that everybody gets. These ones are all add-ons that you can buy separately, but you don't pay shipping and you get a discount rate on them. Although to be completely honest about it, the discount rate on these is about what I get charged from Betker anyway. So it's like one or the other.
Right.
The stuff that I have from last season that I still like to pick up, I'll probably grab from from his hobby shop rather than adding them to my order, and
Right.
that way I can grab them whenever I want to. Because despite there's only 13 of these made, they're all going to sell out. You can still find them if you look for them. They're not quite as rare FOMO as you'd think. Let's go back to the beginning. Hope everyone gets seasick. So Aoshima's got two, technically speaking, new releases this month. These are both, well, this is a reissue. The Nissan Leopard J. Ferrari. I don't know what we're doing there. It's a 92 Nissan. This is one of those kits that American Satco got a hold of back in the 90s and released as an Infinity J30. I happen to actually have one that is painted a metallic lime green. I traded kits for it. It was already partially started. I'll get to you in a second, John. But this kit comes with the left-hand drive parts in it. It's like the Pathfinder, Toronto, Hilux Surf 4Runner, where all Satco did was make the American decals for it. So I'm thinking that once this comes out and once I see exactly what the contents are, I will probably, because it's going to be like $20 in Japan, in eventuality, I'll probably buy one for the body and then combine it with the one I have, because nothing else is started on that kit. It just has lime green metallic paint sprayed on it, and I was like, I can always strip that, and now, hey, I can just buy this and just get a whole new body.
I'm sure that's way up here on your build list too.
No, it's just fun to, because it's an Infinity. It's an oddball car. If this is the thing I always say, if you build this, you'll be the only one on the table with one, because most people don't even realize that exists.
Right.
Mr. Nacho Brolin Z over here would like to know when we will be discussing Taylor Swift. Ha 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 ha, sir. Ha ha ha. The thing we were talking about prior to coming on air is this S13, Nissan S13 that Aoshima will be releasing. Now, I'm going to, as I sit here and type in the background, because I should have had this up already, the thing is being branded as, if we can get Hobby Search to load in an efficient, effective manner, as the Sylvia 1991 Aero Custom.
Okay.
Latest Riowa version. Original front bumper, original side step, original rear bumper, scarf, which I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to be in English, aluminum foil, so hey, at least we'll be able to bake a potato, and then window frame masking stickers included, which is a thing that Aoshima's been doing. They've been putting window stickers in all of their, reissues of their old kits, which is cool because window mask all the things if you can.
Right.
The one thing that I was talking to James about that I don't know is what about this is new. When they've done these prototypes in the past, that means everything in the prototype is new. But anybody who's been around Aoshima kits for a while knows that Aoshima, since the 1990s, early 1990s, has had an S13. It's been an 88. Let's say there's been an 88 factory stock version. There's been a 91 or 92 factory stock version. There's the Rasty one, which is the old D2 touring drift car. There's just a S13 like Q and Ks and all of those, King, Queen, Spades and whatever the trim levels were on those. They've done those. I don't know what's technically new about this, because there was a Sylvia they did not too terribly long ago that showed up the same way. I think it was an S15 that in the end it was just decals. It was all pieces and parts from other kits that they've done. They put it in a box and went, well, it's never been in this box before. Shazam, it's new.
Right. You'll buy it anyways.
Probably not. I have my S13s. I have the 88 kit because that one they've done since then. Well, those never did. They have done the early late version factory stock kit since they started the whole new the model kit series back 5-6 years ago. But prior to that, the 88 kit had never been reissued. They did the newer version, and then that new version, the 92 or 91, 92 model year, was what all the rest of the kits were based off of. Right. One of these came with an engine, so I don't know if that's going to be in there or not. It was an insert, it's a top fit insert. Let's see here. Recently picked up the Aoshima Knight Rider kit. It comes with an LED board for the scanner. Amazing kit, especially compared to the MPC. Love Aoshima kits. Yep. I mean, no loss of Aoshima love here. At one point, Aoshima was probably the biggest chunk of my collection until Hasegawa came around and was like, hey, we're going to produce new kits. And now I probably have more Hasegawa kits than anything else. But the Knight Rider kit, yeah, it's very nice compared to that 82 annual NPC kit that they were like, hey, Knight Rider, let's we're going to do that. Hey, haha. Let's see. Everybody thinks the Taylor Swift thing is funny. I'm glad you all are hysterical. Mike North saying maybe it's not off the common chassis like the previous one. Maybe. The thing, Mike, is that nothing on that list says new tooling anywhere. It's weird that it's in this prototype form to me, because nothing about that says new tooling. And if it doesn't say new tooling in Aoshima, it usually means that it's not new tooling. So we'll find out at the end of the month when this comes out. We'll be able to go into the parts map on the back of the instructions, and Aoshima's parts maps, if you've never noticed, if you have, I know James knows this, but if you've never seen this, the parts maps will say 91 / something 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 A, and that's the A runner, and 91 is the year the tooling was manufactured. And if you go into some of these kits that are old like that are like the Rasty kit, you'll see, well, the chassis and the body and the interior tub, they're 91, and then the Rasty parts are 2008, and then the wheels are 2013, and like they'll be all amalgamation of parts. So we will be able to see when this is done what this actually is.
Right.
I'm assuming the arrow's new. That's what I'm going to assume is new. I'm assuming the arrow parts are the new parts, but what actually is, I guess we'll see. Troy is back wanting to know if either of us have plans to attend NNL East. So yes, we will both come, unless the Lord willing and the creek don't rise, as the saying goes. We will both be there for that extravaganza. That's always a good show. Busting our last outro of upcoming model shows, but yeah, we'll both be there. All right,
that's
so
like
Fujimi,
the grand finale of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, really. Fujimi's got 3 kits coming out. Let me make these bigger so everybody can actually see them, because they're too tiny. There we go. So 1990. Let me see what year this is supposed to be. I should know this off the top of my head, right? I'm the race car guy. I know all these things off the top of my head. So 92. I thought that was 92, but we'll make sure I don't go stumbling over. 1992 HKS Skyline. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have this kit out with commercial decals, I guess. Shunko did these decal sheets. It's
what's different between that and this?
That is a 1993 car.
Ah, gotcha.
There's actually 2 92 HKS cars. This was the late season one. There are Fujimi and Hasegawa are both on the early season. But anyway, this car is black, and it has the HKS on the sides were in green, as you can see on the decal sheet there. This has the new the Spanish audio program, the EAS there, where you can adjust the camber and the ride height and all that stuff. It's got a new chassis to it, which I've said in the other videos about the 124 scale one is the new chassis. It's actually an all-wheel drive GTR chassis compared to this kit in the past has always rode on a generic rear-wheel drive Nissan chassis. So it was, as a GTR, it was never right. The tooling is based off of like the 25 GT, which, was not an all-wheel drive car. So, I mean, yeah, like, woo, I guess. I mean, I have a set of those, and I'll put them on a Hasegawa kit. But if people just want to buy the kit for the kit, it's there. They're going to be reissuing the 90 series, which I think makes this a 91 as far as the model year goes, of the Toyota Cresta. Aoshima makes these too, and frankly, I think the Aoshima kits are better. They have more parts to them, if nothing else. I don't believe the Aoshima kits come with these snazzy 90s era seat decals, which is a Toyota specialty, really. Toyota and Suzuki both had these crazy patterns to their cloth seats back then. But yeah, that's yeah, okay. And then this is the Mark II Tourer 5, which is basically the same car as a pillarless hardtop, again with the crazy seat decals. They're very, very basic kits. They're like 60 pieces. It's a shelf model if you really, really wanted to have one. Both these kits are bone factory stock. No extra parts are coming with them. So, I mean, if you want one for that, good for you, I guess. But they're not really the most awe-inspiring thing. They have not been available probably in 20 years. So there's that. But, yeah.
I'm down for the decals, man.
Yeah. I'll take us over to Hasegawa. Hasegawa's got, speaking of those 124 scale Formula 3000 cars, Club Angle, which is the sponsorship here, on a Reynard 89 F Formula 3000 car. So Honda powered F3000 car, the 1/24 scale hasegawa kits are full detail, so you do get an engine with them, and the back half is displayed here. The back engine half comes off. Now the question I have, maybe because they've done all the good ones, is this car specifically. I meant to download the graphic for this. I'm going to have to read it off my phone instead. So bear with me while I pull this up here. This car was driven by a Brazilian-Japanese driver by the name of, if I can get this to blow up, Marzio Sandro Sala. And the name of the racing team was Funaki Racing. I'm gonna say it's Funaki, right? It's Funaki, Funaki,
right?
Not Funaki, but Funaki. In the Reynard chassis, the Mugen Honda here had 4 total races before they switched over to a different, to a, what is that, a Lola chassis. So there are your race results for the 4 races: 27th, 16th, 31st, and didn't even bother to qualify. Okay, I guess we got the licensing to this, and let's make it. That's what I'm going to assume was the plan behind this choice. So yeah, all right. So there's that. Possibly, I'm trying to go to the next page without being on the next page. Possibly my most favoriteest release out of Hasegawa for a few months is this car from the 1988, what they're calling the WEC round in Japan, which is the World Endurance Challenge, Fujimi 1,000 kilometers. Why we need that in Japan there, I don't know. But check that out, guys. It is a Penthouse sponsored car.
Penthouse.
Now, Penthouse sponsored Porsche 962Cs like globally. So this is not like a crazy thing. They did this, but also along the side here, this Rizla is a European rolling paper, like cigarette rolling paper. So that's not technically a tobacco product, I guess.
It's not tobacco.
It's on there,
porn, but you can't do it.
It's on there, so I assume that it will be on the decals. This big blank area behind, like over the rear arch, is blank in the real car. If you pull pictures of this car from the racing database, this is what the car looked like. It was kind of blank on the back end of it. There's not really a whole lot going on the back end of a 962C in the first place, but yeah. So SuperCAD, which I don't believe exists anymore, Penthouse, Checker Motors, which I believe actually still does exist, and yeah, I believe this car finished 17th in that race. So again, we're with the obscurified last place car. But I mean, if you're going to sell me a Penthouse Porsche for $19, I'm taking the Penthouse car for $19, Alex. I'll take things I shouldn't be allowed to buy for $15. All right, so another thing, and this is going to be something I did want to talk to you about because this is kind of significant, I think, in terms of thing. It's the Mitsubishi Lancer, or Mitsubishi, what do we call this thing? It's the Mitsubishi Colt Galant GTO 2000 GSR Early Edition, blah, blah, blah. You know, Hasegawa like to make as many words on the box cover as possible. What they're doing with this is adding this rear spoiler to it. Right. Who cares? Resin, all the things. This is a 3D printed spoiler.
Ooh.
I believe, technically speaking now, well, in a limited edition, but technically speaking now, I believe this is the first commercially available plastic model kit with 3D parts in it as far as cars go. This is something that tank guys and plane guys, I think ship guys to a certain extent, have been getting forever, right? There's been 3D printed parts, metal barrels, metal tracks, and all that stuff in tanks, but we've never gotten this in car format. I believe, technically speaking, there'll be another one here in a second, but these are the first commercially available car kits with 3D printed parts in
them. Yeah, I like it. It's got the window slats, spoiler, over fenders, cool wheels. Yeah, that one's all right.
I just appreciate the fact that, you know, maybe this is a movement, the first of the movement of being able to get things like this in kits, because it's certainly been a thing where, like, you know, if you just threw a grill in that, it would be a whole different thing. If you just threw some wheels in that, it would be a whole different thing. And there's always been, you know, well, it would cost thousands of dollars to tool up a spoiler. It would $5,000 to tool up a new set of wheels. If we can see the actual adoption of 3D printed parts into kits, that certainly, I mean, I know that's not necessarily, I can print a 3D kit at home in my giant Igloo printer or anything like that, but I think it's certainly promising in the integration of that into these kits. Because what has Hasegawa done? Resin Girl, all the things, resin this, resin that.
Right.
And then they
Chin
have to
spoilers.
chin spoilers, rear spoilers, all that stuff. But it's always been a thing. You know how resin works. You make some money of it, the mold wears out. 3D printing, you can print these forever. This can be in the catalog until the end of time now, because all they need to do is print off how many ever spoilers they need, and it's there forever. So I think that's a promising move.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
We got some comments over there.
Yeah, as I say, I'll go back to. We got Onyx Fair here. This is pretty much the same as Round 2 does with their issues. They had a couple of new things and decals and marketed as a new kit. Well, that's true. We're seeing that, I think, a lot with all of the manufacturers. Revell really was the first one that did that, where they started planning out 3 kits per new tool so that you could, amortize the tooling over many projects.
Right.
You're seeing that with Round 2 with the new Charger. It's the Charger. It's the police car. It's the, we can't talk about the thing that comes third. The Bronco. Right. We'll have more versions of that new Bronco as time goes along.
Sure.
The 68 Coronet convertibles begatting the hardtop that's coming out later this summer. So it's just it's not the era of like, oh, we make this, use it once, turn it into a ultra wheelbase drag car, and off we go. It's these are not toys anymore. These are investments for the company, long haul, forever.
Right.
Let's see here. Ryan here saying, I built quite a few Aoshima kits. I love them. Mr. Aries, so far his wallet hasn't opened up for February.
Just you wait.
Saying howdy.
Howdy.
Mr. Brolin, these are more of the 124 scale open wheel kits. Yes, indeedy. Scale Auto Garage, Mr. Oleg there with, I want this released because the rear louvers it comes with, I haven't picked up Colts yet, so this is on my radar for sure. They're excellent kits. They are the current new line generation of the Hasegawa kits. I have three of those, and they're all very nice. And then
Spencer, you'll knock that out in like a week, because that's the way you roll.
And then Onyx here, the few Hasegawa kits favored the Lancia Stratus and the 4i328. 4i328s, there's a kit that it's kind of hard to pin down anymore. I mean, it was a full detail Ferrari kit, but they haven't produced that in probably 10, 15 years now, with the whole Ferrari licensing going sideways. Yeah, I have a GTB up here. I'm not going to go drag after it, but yeah. Great line of sci-fi and anime kits. This is true. A few of my favorite, and yeah, that's also true. The Macross stuff, the MAK kits, right. Very, very popular now in the IPMS circles.
Right.
I've seen a lot of complaining out of the airplane guys with the fact that they're not making new airplane kits, because Hasegawa was cranking out new airplane kits all the time, and I'm always in the background going, but the car guys have been getting new stuff for like 8 years now. We're happy, so shut up. We're getting a whole bunch of stuff that I never thought I'd see new kits of. A new R32, like the Tamiya was a standard. Why would you make a new one? And the new third gen Supra, well, the Tamiya one exists. We're never going to make a new one of those, even though technically the Hasegawa kits are 89 through 91. They're not in 87, 88 like the Tamiya kit is, but still, it's, Tamiya made it. We'll never see another one of those, and they're just sort of like, no, actually, you know what? We're going to make one. And
that kit rocks, too, the Hasegawa R32.
Yeah. Dean back, this kit would be maximizing a mold and too many different versions. It's just good business. You'll find the same just about any toy company. Transformers huge for this practice. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Right.
Dave Burke, first time seeing either of you guys really enjoy the conversation. Hate that I'm late to the party. Well, Dave, it'll be on there if you want to go back and watch the very beginning of it. Hope all manufacturers start adding those 3D printed parts. I agree. It would be great if they did. And for then this kit will be available online from overseas. I don't know that this specific kit will necessarily be sold in the United States. If you get a really well-stocked vendor, they may carry this. The previous Gallants are available. I know John Becker, the guy who runs my local hobby shop, he's got three of them floating around. But yeah, these kits we're talking about now will be coming out in February in Japan. Now, when you'll be able to pick them up in the United States, Canada, anywhere else is, again, all up to distribution. Summer by the latest. But yeah, it's they'll all be available. The other 3D printed part one is going to be this kit. Another speaking of the Mark III Supra. So this is going to get a new rear wing and then the new exhaust pipe, the fart can here. Those are going to be, again, 3D printed parts rather than being resin parts. So while this personally doesn't necessarily, I have the factory stock ones, I have all the JTCC ones. this is basically a JTCC wheel. It's got the center wheel cap on it rather than being a set of lug nuts. So it doesn't really do anything for me. It's not a car that technically exists, but yeah, again, with the 3D printed parts being added to a kit.
I like the street version of that. That's very cool.
Yeah, I do. It's certainly got a very good look to it. It'll probably carry the race car suspension, so it'll be down on this lowered stance than the street car would have.
Yeah.
So it's cool looking. I'll give you that. But am I going to build 5 Mark III Supers? No. So I'll pass on that one. Another rally car from Hasegawa. It's 1986 Monte Carlo rally. This is Team Jolly. They were a privateer sponsor. This car was being run in Group B rallying long after Group B rallying had gone over to the S4 Delta. So this was sort of a privateer team. I think they finished 8th in the Monte Carlo rally. So I mean, it's their regular car was a green and brown or gold and brown stripe. They've made it this blue and purple one for this last season that the 036 or 037 ran. So yeah, cool, I guess. And
I guess.
let me see. Yeah, I guess. I think that's. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I don't want to sit here and make everybody go dizzy. I think there was one more thing.
I'll read comments.
There you go.
There we go. And I think 3D parts are here to stay. Hard to see a downside to it. Absolutely, Dave. Onyx says, I've ordered from Plaza Japan, had good luck getting few kits not available here, like the Toyota MR2. Right. I found that if you order them online before they're released, you usually get a discount on them too. So that's my thing, is to get them cheaper than when you even, that's the cheapest time they'll ever be unless somebody buys it at the show secondhand. Onyx says, that's my favorite generation Supra. And this might already been covered, but are 3D printed parts styrene or different material? They're resin, which is different. It's I don't know how to explain the difference between resin and styrene.
Well, I mean, Dave, if you've had any experience with resin anything, it's the same principle. It's going to be, it's not a different kind of resin than resin kits are made out of. It's just a different way to go about making them. And then the last thing, I did find it. It's sort of a meh, but why not, since we're already here. The BMAX is reissuing their 1/20th scale, proper scale F1 car. This is an MP42B, which is 85 Monaco. This has already existed. It was released under the BMAX label. There was the whole kerfuffle with BMAX and Aoshima over licensing and distribution, and that's why new exists. And after that contract with Aoshima expired, they've gotten their BMAX name back, and so this is just reissuing this. This kit came out in 2018. That run existed, and that has not been available since. So this is just sort of refreshing the coffers.
Gotcha. Still no anime girls on it, so. Dave Barker says, understood. Thanks. Onyx says, the box art kind of looks like Lego to me. Yep, it certainly does. Certainly does. James, what are you doing over there? I think you're on mute. Yes, you are.
That's not
Can't
very
unmute.
Nice.
Okay.
I can unmute.
You muted yourself
on the channel. So the other thing was on the new kit discussion. I knew there was one more thing to talk about, was the upcoming, because we talked about it. We teased it a little bit while we were discussing the PZY Lambo, and that is the upcoming PZY kit box when been decal designed. Hatsune Miku BMW Z4 from the 2008 Japanese Super GT series.
Now,
take it away, Mr. James.
I think that's not actually going to be available until March now. I just talked to Wen Ben, and we're waiting for the photo etched and the turned aluminum pieces to be finished.
That would be
So
these little front struts here.
yeah. So, but as far as I know, the decals are ready, the resin parts are ready, and yeah, it's I'm chomping at the bit for this one. When he built it, he full wired it and stuff, and so I'm inspired. I'm gonna go for it this time.
History speaking, 2008 was the first season of Miku on a race car. This was Studi Racing, which is still a factory BMW team in 2024. They still exist. Glad I think it's come and gone. Technically speaking, this is not considered to be a Good Smile Racing car because it was prior to Good Smile Racing forming in 2010. But for fans of Miku, this is where this began. There should be in the future, I don't think I'm necessarily leaking anything here, is there will be a 2009 season car, which looked a little bit different. And then with these two pieces, you will be able to do with decals and this, that, and the other things that have existed, every single Hatsune Miku car from 2008 through 2024. So if you want to have a what the guys on Plastic Model Mode, or not Plastic Mode, but Plastic Posse podcast would call a Magnus Opum build, which is your lifetime achievement build, building every one of these might qualify as that. Because some of the seasons there were two cars, some of the seasons there have been spa cars and Super GT cars. I mean, there's probably there's what two of these Z4M coupes, because these are technically not the convertible base Z4 that came after it. That's why we got a weird front end on it and stuff like that. But then they ran a 911 in 2012. There were technically two kits of that, but they ran the 911. Then they went to the Z4s. They ran those through 2014. 2015, they ran an SLS Mercedes, which is when they went to Mercedes. And then 2016, 2017, 2018, they were in Super GT. 2019, they ran Spa and the 10 hours of Suzuka, which was a separate race. They also did that again in 2019. And then in 2020, it was a Super GT only because everything got canceled because of blood plague that ruined the world. And then there have been Super GT cars every year since then. I think we're at like 18 or close to 20 of these if you were to build them all.
And how many do you have?
Not counting like the two Porsches in the same year. Because
what was it? 20,
was it 2012 that they ran the two cars? They ran the O and the 4, because one of them is the Sega cars, and then the other one was the regular.
Oh yeah.
So technically, there were two cars. There were two Sega cars because we have the decals to do both sets of those, and then the chalkboard car and the other one, and then there's the regular thing. So yeah, there's just a huge pile of these that exist. Pricing wise on this, for guys or not, this is going to be kind of like your high end resin kits. This is probably going to be 150, 160 bucks, give or take, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. That's not counting shipping and PayPal charges and all that happiness. So understand that you're sinking some cash into this project. It's going to be a resin multimedia kit. It's going to be like those Lamborghinis we talked about, where the body and everything is going to be in resin, turned aluminum, photo etch out the wazoo, and all that stuff. So decals, not for the beginning modeler, but if you're into this and you like the looks and you can handle that type of thing, it's very, very exciting.
Yeah.
There's been one of these done. It was done by Good Smile Racing Company, the company that actually makes all their toys and stuff like that. But it was a miserable piece of nonsense. So
and good luck finding one too.
If you do find one, you're going to pay a huge amount of money for it.
Right.
So excitement there. All right. So the next thing is on my little list of stuff here as we go. What are we working on? What is on your bench at the moment, Mr. Tester?
I have the two Miku cars, the 2018 and the 2022. 2018. So I have a few pieces left to paint and scuff the tires, and then I'll be ready for an assembly video on both of those at the same time. But after that, it's the Lamborghini, and then after that is the Z4. So I'm booked through what, May?
Say July. Because as I say, there's going to be 3D cars that fall out of the sky between them. They're like
Yeah.
this one right here. I'm sure this will fall.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot
Point.
about that. So that's an R32 with some parts from Wenben for the resin over fenders and the yeah, and the decals. So yeah, I'll probably build that too. Good looking car.
Yeah, why not? I mean, that's what there's just so few things that you have to deal to do. Let's see. Speaking of things that you want to build, oops, I did that the wrong way. Let's do this right here. How about this? We were discussing
Yeah,
this.
I saw that one today, and that's a wide body Toyota 86, and the decals. Something about those decals just kind of turned me on. So yeah, I want to build something like that. I bought all those
One
kits.
minute, you're
Remember,
walking this back.
Yeah, what was it about 2 years ago? I went on that shopping spree on Buyee and bought all those Itasha kits and
Right.
got them all and said, these aren't what I really wanted, but they were
I'm
cheap.
saying, I'm not sure. Be interested to do more research into what car this is, what body kit this is, because there's, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them for the new 86, but they've all more or less been done at this point. A lot of them, Fugu
Right.
Garage did a bunch of them, and somebody else did a bunch of them.
Right.
So it's possible that, decals aside, that the bot. Well, I mean, even if you just 3D printed it yourself, you can find the files. I don't know if this is the Speed Hunter one or not. It doesn't look like a Liberty Walk one necessarily, but yeah, I mean, there's your homework assignment if you really wanted to buy it, is figure out whose body kit this is, and if it's available. It should be available as a 3D design because it's been, like I said, they've been done. So somebody designed it at some point.
Right.
So
But yeah, I would like to build something like that.
On my end, I have a bunch of parts sitting here for this godforsaken Honda Civic project that's never going to end. And then I guess I've got a Lamborghini that I've got to build. And then I have 2 different kits that are like 50% of the way done, that are touring cars and GT3 cars I need to get done for that table that John Sweber and I are setting up at IPMS Nationals for race cars. So I should probably, have something to put on the table since I'm the one that booked the table in the first place. Call me crazy. That might be a good idea. Maybe. I mean, I have like some stuff.
Is it just going to be Miku cars, or is it going to be?
No, it's going to be anything. We're calling it touring cars and customer racing. So it's like any touring cars from, 70s, 80s, 90s up through when, through modern day. Because like the GT1 cars were sort of the first customer racing cars. I mean, you could argue that Group C cars were customer racing cars, technically speaking, but prototypes are kind of away from what I wanted to have the table be. I wanted it to be things like the Supra, the R32, the R31, all the modern GT3, GT4 cars, and the 80s touring. There's so much of that stuff that's been kitted by Hasegawa and BMAX Nunu and all that stuff. We sat down, me and John sat down one day and figured out there's something like, if you took every single car kit that there is of all these, there's something like 124 different kits without any kind of decal support that you could build for that table. So it seemed like no F1, no open wheel. There's an F1 group in IPMS already. NASCAR is so big and so broad that it should be its own thing aside. And so we're sort of riding that middle of race cars that look like the things that you actually could drive, not the things that are Group C cars or LMP1 prototypes. The TSO 50 is a cool car, but it doesn't look like a Toyota by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. But it'll be a nice display.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, I know he's bringing all his Miku cars, and he's working on a couple of the miniature decal Miku cars right now too. So, and he's got so many of those things built as it is. I think you've seen them all because you guys were out there in Arizona at the same time with each other.
Right. Yeah, he's the one that turned me on to him, to be honest with you. I saw his collection of them and it's like, wow, I got to build all of these. And then we went on the big shopping spree, bought all those kits.
I say, and as far as the question you asked before goes, I have 12 of the Fujimi based kits, and then I have all the decals. And say I just got in all of the existing old ones, the 2012, 2013, 2015 ones, the sheets that Miniature did on that Zoom on order that I did. So I'm I'm stocked up. I'm waiting on these Z4s, and then I will have everything I need to.
Oh,
I
he
say,
says another
yeah,
Wenben commented. We have another
the Red Bull car. Yeah, the Red Bull
Yes.
livery for that Z4. I know it's there, Winman. I know it's there. It's just
And
not a
then
real
the
race.
2024 is coming out too. So
Yeah,
that's February 7th, I think, or 11th.
let's say Miku is what a knight or something like that.
Yeah.
Clear backlog
There,
plan. Yeah, I wish I could clear my backlog or had a clear plan. Either one of those two things would be completely make it quickly. I'd love to. I'd love to just it's one of those. We got a whole. We got on the when we do this as an audio podcast. This could be a whole main topic of you know wanting to do something but not. Right.
yeah,
I've cleaned up the rear suspension components of this Civic a month and a half ago, and they've been sitting right off camera behind the camera tripod for that entire time. Now all I need to do is take this sheet that I have as a cover for my spray booth off and be done because it's
right.
5 pieces. But like I gotta clean the airbrush and I
Spencer
gotta
says, "Yay, Civic."
yay Civic, but ah.
And Don likes the Z4.
I am of the oh hey Don cool Don Schmitz is in my IPMS chapter here in Pittsburgh. He's actually the guy who's behind it's being called the Tiger Meet. Now Tiger Meet's a NATO thing of airplanes, but it's the display only section that we're going to be doing at Madison for the IPMS Nationals. So at the IPMS Nationals, it's going to be at Monona Terrace, which is in downtown Madison, right on the lakefront. It's a sort of a 3-tiered birthday cake kind of building designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Very cool, very historic building. And the bottom level is going to be 37,000 square feet of vendor space, which is going to be like 400 tables based on what they said the last time that they talked about it. There's a mezzanine level sort of in between that's sort of like half a floor. It's 5,500 square feet of space, and that'll be where John and I and everybody else who's doing a display only, not entering the contest. It's just display only. So if you're watching this, I'm going to do a video about it, and I'm going to put it on MCM and stuff like that eventually. You could be any kit. It's not a group build. It's not a thing like, oh, it has to be a brand new kit, and you have to finish it by July 17th because that's the first day the show starts. It could be anything you have that's already built. So, again, we're bringing stuff that we've already done. Anybody can, if you're not an IPMS member, technically speaking, you can just pay your day pass, which I think is $15 or $20, and put it on the table for the day. You don't have to come for all 4 days or anything else like that. It's the only time the IPMS has really allowed people to participate in the show without being an IPMS member and registering and all that. It's like when you consider registering for the show and being an IPMS member, that's like $90 for the year, basically. So sneaking in for $20 just to display is something if you're interested. But and then above that is the top floor, or in the next there's a mezzanine. There's technically a terrace, but there's going to be another 35,000 square feet of display space for the contest. This year, I think it's being split into 2 rooms, and they're sort of right now going through the 500 some odd categories and IPMS Nationals has to try not to have categories that split across the hall, so you don't have airplanes here that suddenly disappear off across the hall. So I understand it's like airplanes, cars, and dioramas and stuff are in one room, and then tanks and ships and sci-fi are going to be in the other room, I guess. But a lot of planing.
Attend one of those.
Yeah, they'll be in Virginia Beach next year or Hampton. Oh God, people don't shoot me. It's the wrong side of the river, I know. But because Hampton's on this side, there's a river, and then Virginia Beach is on the other side. But yeah, that's so. It was in Columbus not too long ago. Maybe it'll come back to Ohio in 26. We'll see who bids on it. But that's something like I've gone to for the last. This be I guess it's technically the 4th year I've gone. Last year I judged.
Oh, really?
Cars, okay. So it'll be entertaining. If you're it's in Wisconsin, July 17th to the 20th. So if you're in Chicago, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, because Weber's up there in Minneapolis now, so he's coming across. So if you're in the upper Midwest, it's a 4-day show. You don't have to go all 4 days, but it's a 4-day show. And that's me blathering again. Outro model contest stuff prior to us going, because the other discussion point I wanted to have, because you just did this, is the Dodge Demon, the 1971 Dodge Demon by MPC. You just white glued this thing together. Right. So, Mr. Tester, being the person on this call that has actually seen this thing in person, because my Walmart to this point still does not have any, and John hasn't gotten any either. What do we think of this new old tool demon?
I like it. I showed in my video that I built one ages and ages ago, but yeah, I'm going to build this one box stock. I'm not going to kit bash it with the Plymouth Duster. I know, but um, I just don't have the time, to be honest with you. It's a nice kit, and it will build up and sit on the shelf and look like a great kit sitting on the shelf, and that's all I really want. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this kit to come out. Collector prices are about $250 to $300 for an original Demon kit. So, yeah, it's nice to have it back out again. I've been hearing a lot of griping about, you know, why'd they go to all the trouble of retooling the body, but, you know, put it on the old chassis, and it's all just budget. You know, I talked to my friend Steve, and he explained how all that works.
I was going to say, what would, I watched your video. That's right. I actually watched his videos. Can you believe that I watched his videos? I watched your video and I looked at it, and, it's what I expected it to be. It's not anything that is like, well, I'll say that the very cool things about this, that watching your video, I noticed the fact that, obviously we mentioned the headlights are their own pieces now. They're not molded into the grill. The grill's molded separately, and it's not chromed, which is nice because you don't have to strip it to paint it the argent color that it would be. And then I thought the really nice thing was also that the tail lights and the backup lenses are separate pieces. We've seen so many times where it's like, hey, we colored the taillights red, but you're also like, well, yeah, but this big chunk of this, it needs to be clear. And now how am I supposed to represent that as a lens when the whole thing is red? Do I try to unbleach this and repaint it or whatever?
Right. Or the flip side is it's clear and you have to paint half of it red.
Right. And so looking at that, and then reading through the comments on your YouTube channel, I thought that the salient point, and it's been an argument about curbsides forever, is it's a recreation of the 1971 tooling. So it feels like the 1971 tooling, that the drive shaft is molded to the chassis, like you pointed out. How much time is that kit going to spend on your shelf upside down with the hood off?
Right.
Curbsides, they don't have engines, and a lot of curbsides are very basic chassis. So it comes to a point for me personally where the chassis is so basic I don't want to build the kit. But guys, I mean, you're not going to. I totally get building the engine. I totally get that as a thing. I desire to have this experience building the engine, but you're never going to look at it again. We're both in our collective basements right now. How many people are coming over to our house and ripping the hoods off our models and being like, where the hell the engine underneath? Oh, you didn't even wire that. Throw it over your shoulder and storm out of the door. Ideally, what I'd like to have seen it be state-of-the-art Revell 2024 tooling, sure, but I understand the budgetary constraints, and to have the kit come back, have the 64, 63 Fords come back, have the 68 Coronets come back.
Right.
Having them come back in this fashion, I'm perfectly fine with. I don't see the kerfuffle.
Right. And with all the resin stuff that you can print, you can put a 392 in this. You can do anything you want with it. I mean, just if you don't like something about it, just change it yourself. It's just nice to have the kit out again. And with decals, by the way, I was part of the last detail back when he did decals, and I still have an original Dart Demon decal sheet, and that thing's worth gold. But now that this new kit's out and new decals, it's just collector stuff now. But it's great to have this kit out again, and I hope that the 3D printed guys make a 72 out of it. Redo that hood scoop and redo the interior, make a 72 out of it. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
I find a very interesting sort of dichotomy, and you see a lot of this on model cars magazines through the years, not just recently, but like going back into when I came back into the hobby as an adult in like 2007. That was the place I went to just like, oh look, there's a whole forum about model cars. Because when I was talking about model cars as a kid, like we're talking about like Prodigy and America Online and stuff like that, and then a huge gap
until
Yeah, exactly. Until I came back, and now there were forums and stuff like that. Is the concern about those type of things seems to very much be attached directly to your attachment of the actual one-to-one vehicle, because you can
Yes,
see people all the time oh well, this model kit doesn't have this or that and everything, and then everybody always says, what, well, you're a modeler, fix it. And then something like this comes out and everybody's losing their absolute collective minds about the fact that the drive shaft's molded to the chassis. Well, grind it off and fix it. What can I tell you? I
absolutely.
mean, it's a question of, do you want it or not? Because the not is certainly, I mean, I don't know what else that Steve has up his sleeve for the next 5 years, but I'm sure that money could have been spent on other things. It didn't have to go to this. Could have been something else that I'm sure they would like to have done, other than
Right.
a 1 year only kind of oddball. What is that? A body Chrysler? It's like,
Right.
okay,
It could have just
I
been
like
another
it. I'll
Camaro.
buy one, but
Yeah.
there's other things that could have been done.
Could have been another Corvette, or another Camaro, or another
Oh, a 32
Mustang,
Ford. We don't have enough of those.
or another 32 Ford. Right.
Oh, a 57 Chevy. It's a very interesting mindset, I think, within car modeling that exists. And this could be a whole nother talking point for an audio podcast, is the fact that, like, when you look at IPMS, there are constantly, every 2-3 years, a revision of something that exists, right? There's a new P51, and maybe it'll be in a different scale than the last new P51. Oh, P51, new German armor of some sort with some unpronounceable name splashed across the box art, and all those things. And those guys expect to constantly have their tooling updated. They expect every 5 years that somebody else is going to take another crack at a Panzer II tank, and it's going to be better than the last one was. And I was looking at stuff when I was putting stuff up for auction this weekend. When you think about 57 Chevy, a venerable American car, if ever there was one, the thing that gets listed every single time something comes out, and somebody goes, well, at least it wasn't another 57 Chevy. you had you had the Revell 57 Chevy from back in the 1960s. I think it was 64 or so, when that one, all the doors in the trunk and all that crap open. Those last
And
scenes,
nothing fit. Right.
yeah, it's last scenes the Ed Roth car. Now Atlantis owns the tooling, and Atlantis has reissued it. And then in the late 90s, there you had the new Tri 5 tooling that Revell did, that has the Nomad and the 55 and the 57, all that stuff attached to it. It was something like 30 years gap between when you had that original Revell kit and when that Revell monogram Tri 5 came out. I don't think the 57 Coupe came out really later in that run. It was one of the
Right.
last things that came out. And then you look at AMT. AMT has that old 57 Chevy. It's the Pepper Shaker, the most recent reissue of it, where, again, it's a kit from the 1960s. And then again, in the early 1990s or so, they retooled that new 57 Chevy that has the opening trunk and Pro Model Series, and had I think one of those had a P grill insert with it and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
it got reissued in those auto culture box arts that came with all the like 60s literature and stuff like that. But again, that's another 30-year gap between when the original 60s tooling and the original 90s tooling came out. I don't necessarily understand the mindset behind it exists, so we don't need a new one.
Right. Right.
Yeah, could this have been taken when the original? I think the thing people are so mad about the 71 Demon is the fact that when they originally announced it, they said, we're going to take the 75 Dart, backdate it to 1971, and then we're going to merge it into the new tool Duster. And that was such an expensive proposition that they canceled the project entirely until
Right.
this 3D scanning cloning of the original tooling came back around, and now it's something venerable. I don't necessarily know the 71 Demon is something that would have justified the $200,000 investment in the new tool unless you could engineer it into a way to make all those other things that you were just talking about out of. But
No,
at the same
actually,
time,
talking with Steve, all the Mueller era kits, those are not in digital format, so
right,
they just can't take this piece and this piece and this piece, throw it into the same files with this kit, and have, ta-da, here's your Demon with all of the Duster parts, because the Duster parts aren't in digital format, so they're in hard format.
so we saw that with the 70 Camaro when they tried to make the split
Oh, right.
bumper into the full bumper, and then it turned out that new tool split bumper Camaro wasn't equidistant on the front end. One fender was longer than the other, so when you 3D scanned in the real
Right.
part, oh crap, it didn't fit at all, and that was a whole bunch of beating on it to finesse it into fitting the old 90s kit.
Right. I think we're behind in comments here a little bit.
We are. Yeah.
Sounds like an amazing show. What are the dates? I think you said it's July.
July 17th through the 20th. Yeah, it's the third week of Wednesday through Saturday.
Okay. See No Evil. That's Tim in southern Iowa. Might have to make the trek. And I saw your video. Looks like a nice build. Thank you, Onyx. Wait till I learn English, communicate with you online. I think that the rebroadcast you can probably get subtitles for. Which
You're doing a perfectly good job of talking to us anyway. So,
but you don't understand me saying that to you, so I'll type it out to you later. Feels so interesting, even though I don't quite understand it. I found the symbol kits are a lot of fun because the painting takes center stage to the building. I'm building the 85 Z28, and it's also a simple kit, but I'm putting more time into the detailing. Absolutely, Onyx. Absolutely. And from what I've seen from you did to that, the MPC Fiero, that's good stuff. Hey, y'all. Model Scale Outlaw. Scale Model Outlaw. But there's new.
I'm subscribed to you. I can't think of what your name is, but I subscribe to you. I recognize
Dale
that
says great info, like the pod. Don's Garage. Howdy, everyoneer. Jeff Elliott. They fixed the fender on the Demon as well. Yes, they did, sir.
Yes, they did. Yes.
Will says, but can you 3D scan an old kit and create new molds off that? Yes, Will. And that's how they've created from the old tooling, is to scan it and then recreate it and fix it. It's my first time tuning in. Awesome. Welcome.
Mike.
My name is Mike.
Mike, there.
All right, Mike. Now we know you. I'm James, by the way. It's nice, but I hate
James, my brother James.
That's nice, but I hate painting. Oh man.
Paul, what exactly is it that you hate painting?
Yeah,
we've been blathering on here about so many things.
Right. All right. Wait a minute. Onyx says, if you like the Fiero, wait till you see the 64 GTO I'm working on. I let my wife pick the colors, and oh boy. All right. So I'll see that at East, right? Great. Now I'll get the new one. Rock on. Yep. I follow y'all. I follow both y'all. Great stuff on your channels. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. And Don, this is my first time viewing too. Welcome, Don.
So before we get off this, hold that up and with what you're talking about, the fender.
Jeff. Oh, you mean me to hold it up?
Yeah. So you can talk about what's with the front fender he's talking about being wrong and what they did to fix it.
So here, it's a sweep instead of straight down. They did fix it.
Yeah, so that was part of the original one. Did not have the correct front fender shape, and that has been addressed in this reissue. Right. So that's again another nice little piece done for them. Right. All right, so as we go out the door here, because we've been on for almost 2 hours, which is what I said it would be. When I said 2 hours, so we're good. It's going to be upcoming model shows. So far stuff I know about. We're going to create an email address for this, and when we do the actual audio ones, we'll if you have a show upcoming, we'll be happy to promote it for you. March, let me get the right date. I think it's the 7th, but let me bump forward. I should know this because it's my own club show. 9th. March 9th will be the Three Rivers IPMS show, known as Tricon. It's held at the Beatty Career Center in Allison Park, Pennsylvania. It's a little neighborhood north of Pittsburgh. This is an IPMS show, so it is all genres. It's not a car-specific show. We do gold, silver, bronze judging, so it is not 1, 2, 3. You can actually win with everything you bring or nothing you bring if stuff doesn't stack up. It's judged against the IPMS rubric, so it is a lot of basic modeling over bling. So if you have a lot of PE thrown at something, but you can't build a model for crap, you're not going to get anything. But if you build a model really well and you can do photo etch really well, that's a good day for you. Again, advertising that primarily because, again, that's my current club and the show. A car specific show in March would be the Buckeye Scale Classic. That
I'll
is
be
going
at
to
that
be
one.
Saturday, March 16th in the McCoy Center in Hilliard, Ohio. Doors open at 8. It is going to be NNL style judging, which I believe is builder's choice, if I'm not mistaken. I think you have to enter the contest to be part of the People's Choice judging with that. At least it was the last time I went. They've changed formats like 10 times, but I think that's what it is this time around. Themes for the show are going to be Mopar. Oh, look at you. You'll be popular. And then the Ohio Challenge, which is the same kit challenge they do every year, is the 1967 through 72 Mobeus Ford pickup truck, which is kind of a broad variety there, but technically speaking, it is the same kit, just with different pieces to it.
Right.
Then April 27th will be NNL East at 1 Powell Drive in good old Wayne, New Jersey, the venerable show of shows at this point, now that unfortunately Toledo NNL doesn't exist. It is really currently the only NNL that exists. A lot of these NNLs have top 10s, top 15s, top 20s. That is not what the NNL was about. It was a no award show. You had a best of show, you had a best juniors, and then as time went along, theme, but as time went along, like people passed away and there were memorial awards, but there was never this spectrum of like, hey, we voted on these things and these things are going to be blah blah blah. So yeah, I appreciate that. And at least that is much more of a hang than a lot of things. NNL West, I don't believe, had a lot of awards to it either. But it's a social show more than it is a contest.
Right.
And then I don't really have much else
Detroit.
there.
We got Detroit coming up too.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that up. Because you're right, there is
on my wall here. March 24th.
24th. So that's at the Oakland County Community College.
Yes.
So that's the spring one. That's a judge show, right? Because fall one's the NNL.
Yes.
So that's a judge show. And then again, I should be more prepared for this, but this was a dress rehearsal, guy, so don't kill me. IPMS Nationals is 170 days away from this recording. If you're watching it back in the past, this was Monday, the 29th of January. That is, again, 4-day show from the 17th through the 20th. If you are going to come and you're going to enter, there's a whole rigmarole about joining the IPMS National IPMS USA thing and pre-registering for the show and blah, blah. We'll go over that at some point in the future. It's not germane right now, but you have to be there by Friday to enter the contest if you want to enter the contest portion. And then the last Sunday of September, I know I'm jumping way ahead, but things I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Last Sunday of September, which is the 29th, will be the Three Rivers Auto Modelers show in Castle Shannon here in Pittsburgh. The day before that, Saturday the 28th, will be the Y City Scale Modelers show in Zanesville, Ohio. That's now being held in downtown Zanesville. I can't remember what the theater is called, but that's usually a two-day weekend for me. I usually go to both of those. And then I have not seen a flyer for it, but I believe we're going to be the 26th, right? Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. When the Acme show is this coming year.
Somebody commented that. Give me a second. Well, first, Dale wants to know, when can we expect to see this podcast again? We're thinking every 2 weeks. If it works out, if you guys keep coming back, we'll keep doing them.
Yeah, ideally, we're going to do a couple of these as live streams, and then once the mics and recording equipment come in, these will be uploaded via Buzzsprout to like Spotify and Google Podcasts, which will be YouTube podcast in the coming months. I'm not exactly sure when that actual switchover is going to take place, and then hopefully, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what button I need to switch on that, but everything I listen to through iHeartMedia, so iHeart and all those things. But yeah, that's the general idea. Is every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks. It depends. We'll see. We'll see what life brings as far as the actual recording schedule. Let me grab where we're at here. So, C Road, first time from Arizona.
Awesome.
Aries, Tamiya will reissue older armor at 1/3 of the price of the new versions for those wanting nostalgia at entry level. True. Dean Lewis is my first time seeing the podcast. When's the next one? Just answered that. Onyx, hope you guys can make this a regular show.
Thank you.
That's the plan. JaxCon, there you go. For the Florida guys down south, JaxCon, I believe that's a day and a half show because technically it's part of Friday and all day Saturday. That is one of the bigger Southern IPMS shows. That is another gold, silver, bronze show if you're not one to do a first, second, third competitive type of show. Jeff is saying the Three River Show on your bucket list as well. So if you come, I may be the head automotive judge for that show. Don Schmitz is technically our head automotive judge, but he also is also the guy who tabulates all the entries. So I ended up being the head automotive judge by the end of the day. Evil subbed at Scam Experiment. Thank you very much for the subs.
Thank you.
Again, I'll have a couple of videos coming out of all this stuff separately as far as like the February kits and what I got. And in an Elise backyard, I know you were there last year. I didn't get a chance to say hello, but I noticed other people were talking to you. Don's Roger, man. So the real NNL is, yeah, well,
absolutely done.
I have my own personal thoughts on the whole awards at NNLs. It kind of kills the point, but I don't want to get shot in the first podcast. Do you know anyone who could make VLN or VIN decals? I don't know. That would be a very, very tiny ass decal. If we're talking about the kind that sits on top of a dashboard.
Tiny.
Exactly. IPMS Mosquito Con is the weekend before NNL East. You know what? I have the IPMS schedule up in the background here, so let me see where it is. Mosquito Con is April the 6th. It's in the same place as in the Police Athletic League building in Wayne, New Jersey. All genre IPMS show. So that's 3 weeks ahead of IPMS as far as NNL East. So if you're in the New Jersey area, I know that a lot of the car guys go to that one as well. Acme is October 28th. So, okay, that's what I thought it was. I was sitting here looking. Because a lot of people don't realize that Acme is actually a IPMS club. It is the only automotive IPMS club that exists as far as I know, or primarily automotive club, but it is actually technically an IPMS club. So yeah, we'll throw that up there again. Acme, the Southern Nationals, the big Atlanta show that everybody goes to, October 28th. They've moved into the new building with the new hotel. Everybody seemed to be really jazzed with the new location. So
I'd like to make that show.
I'd like to make that trip too. I think this is technically a different weekend than Virginia Beach this year. So we'll see. I might skip Virginia Beach's show this year because the IPMS Nationals will be in Virginia Beach next summer, and so the family's going on vacation while I attend the show. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a whole if you want to see your IPMS options. I know not everybody's a big fan of the IPMS, and that goes back longer than I've been alive. But if you go to the IPMSUSA.org, go under news and events, under events, you can see everything that's coming up. The two shows that are local sort of to us that are going to be first up would be, let me see, I just closed the wrong screen. It's going to be BlizzCon. That is a show that's held in Columbus. It's at the McCoy Center, the same place that the Buckeyes Go Classic is. That's February 24th. If you want to try to sled ride across central Ohio at the end of February, that's an option. The weather's been kind of iffy a couple of different years. One year that I went, it was like 62 degrees that day, and then it's been snowed out before. So, that's all that thing. I've got a bunch of comments coming in here. The IPMS Phantom Flashers is April 6th in Anniston, Alabama. So if you happen to be down south, that's a choice. This is a show I do know about. I don't know let me see if I can pull the date on that. So, there it is right there. September 8th is the Super September Showdown, as it's known as. Boyerstown, Pennsylvania. That is way out the other side of the state for me in Philly. And that's a big big thing. Jeff Elliott, hush. No snow talk, please. Look, as somebody in my personal job who drives from Pittsburgh to Columbus every day, 5 days a week, yeah, believe me, I don't want any snow in Columbus at any point in time during the year, let alone on that contest weekend. I personally probably I'll be at our show because I got to judge and I got to help run our show. And then I will be at NNL East and then I will be at IPMS Nationals. And then we'll see what the fall shows hold. But I'm not going to probably do too many shows this spring. I got quite a bit of stuff to do. So we will see with that. But we'll be at the Flasher show, the Phantom Flasher show in April. So cool. Don, hook up with. Oh, you're going to be at that. That was your comment. Never mind. Don, hook up with yourself while you're there. But yeah, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this presentation of nonsense. I've had a good time for the last 2 hours.
I had a good time.
I'll find out here shortly if we get off the air whether or not the other James had a good time with this. In the future, we may Amex Akuda word get James.
I don't know, Jeff. I don't know. I'll talk to the other Jeff, and we'll see. Jeff wants to donate a AMX or a CUDA to Jeff and I for a build off.
Okay, cool. And then Don's Garage would be one of the car judges. Now, Don, I'm a sidebar. Oh God, we're on here longer. I've always been of the opinion that if you don't like the IPMS as a car builder, the only choice we have is to overtake it and overrun it. If you've had the comments of like, oh, I don't like IPMS judging because the guys don't know what they're doing, there's a whole bunch of tank guys judging the cars and it's not fair. Well, you know what? Before every contest gets to a certain point, they usually say, hey, anybody want to help judge? And you went, no, I gotta go get lunch. So participate in the judging. I know it's not a thing a lot of people do. A lot of people get a little sketchy about. I don't like to, critique other people's work, and I totally understand. It's a totally valid point. I'm not discounting anyone's point of view on that. But, helping from the inside is the only way, like, car modeling is acceptable. The IPMS isn't really a thing, because if you come to our show, it's the first show in Pittsburgh in the spring. So there are usually more cars on the tables than there are any other single genre that there is.
Right.
I know there are some IPMS clubs that it is airplanes only, and there's 5 cars on the table, and it's an S show for car guys. But, take the opportunity to volunteer, learn how to judge, join the IPMS club in your area if there's available. There's going to be a big push coming up here for the IPMS to create virtual clubs for people that aren't near a major city where an IPMS chapter exists. They're talking about doing those virtual clubs as genre specific. So if there's going to be an IPMS virtual car club, it might be something you consider entertaining, attending a meeting. I'm assuming there'll be Zoom or something like that. So, Jeff here, thank you very much. Great show. Appreciate it, Jeff. And guys, we should be back in 2 weeks. That would be that'll be the 12th of February. We'll see make sure our schedules all align with that. And Jeff here saying you can learn a lot from both types of clubs. Don saying you have to get involved to change IPMS. Exactly. And personally, again, we're going to blather on. Personally, I believe that you can always learn stuff from other genres of modelers. If you want to learn how to weather something, you want to build a rat rod, you want to build a garage find, you want to go talk to your tank guys. Your tank guys know how to weather things that look like they've been sitting in the mud for 9 years. They're not going to bite you. They're not going to they're not going to put your arms behind your back and shove your face into a Tamiya tank kit. Tank guys especially are super helpful. Go listen to Plastic Posse podcast if you want to get, that's one of the bigger armor sort of centric podcasts out there. I can't stand people who rust Corvettes because they aren't made of metal. I can't stand stuff that looks like, hey, I weathered the chassis and it looks like you just took it outside and rubbed it in a pile of dog crap. If you want to learn how to weather stuff, go to the people who actually know how to weather stuff. They're out there, they're friendly. You can learn stuff from other genres of modelers. If you ever want to have a really fun conversation, grab somebody who's built something that looks like it's real, and then listen to them complain about how they can't paint shiny things, and you'll feel better on your way home from that meeting, because every single IPMS guy, well, not every single, that's ridiculous, but every single IPMS guy I run into always like, damn, that bottle's shiny. I don't know how you do that. And I'm looking at something that's covered in 1/35th scale leaves and going, what do you mean you can't paint shiny? You can do this.
Right.
How can you not make it glossy? I don't understand. So there's my parting thought. James, you got anything before we go?
Nope. Thank you, James.
All right, guys. We appreciate your watching. Watch back. This will stay up on both our YouTube channels unless James deletes it out of embarrassment. And yep, Onyx, every different kind of genre, science and sci-fi, anime. It's great. It's great to go to if you appreciate everything. If you're not narrow-minded and you only build gassers and dragsters, it's fun to just hang out. So with that insult, we'll get off here, guys. We appreciate the viewership, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Good night, guys.